So Professor Chimamanda Adichie decided to sue the health facility that poorly managed her late son's medical condition to court. And I'm reading this kind of comment that is more or less baiting ethnic arguments. But I've also come to see where other people made statements about why did she need to go to court? Why are people talking about this situation like it's not happening to people? I want to tell us a story today, and I think it will help a lot of Nigerians to learn about some of their rights and demand that certain policies or actions be amended. And it could border on ethical practices that we see and often overlook. And it's the reason why our country is going the way it's actually going at the moment. Many years ago, 2017 or so, armed robbers came to my house, robbed me, took my car, and they literally cleaned up my house. They held me down for over 3 hours, I and my security, and one of them went out to withdraw with the ATM. They actually used my two cards to withdraw from two different banks. In one of the banks, the face of one of the armed robbers actually came out clearly. That was the one that pointed the gun at me the moment I drove into the house. The other one, I could see the image, but the face didn't come out. And the body actually wasn't clear because the bank didn't illuminate the ATM. There were no lights in the ATM, and the environment was actually not illuminated, so there were no lights on the ATM or in the ATM. So I approached the bank. First, I requested for the CCTV footage, and they were not willing to give. I had to get the court order, and it took them a lot of efforts before it came out. And when the CCTV footage came in, it was obvious that I couldn't see anything because of the obvious. Those I mentioned earlier. I approached the court. I actually sued the bank. I won't mention the name. And they tried to intimidate me at first, like, oh, it's going to take 10 years, 15 years, and we don't know what the outcome would be. And I was like, yes, I'm ready to stay, even if it's for 50 years, because I wanted to prove something. It's not about asking you to refund my money and you didn't refund it, but the fact that you operate ATM points in obscure areas with no electricity, with no security, and it's obvious that criminals love to go to that ATM. So it means something was actually wrong. So I sued them and I joined their regulator in that suit because I wanted the bank to be punished. And they eventually decided to settle out of court, and I spelled out my conditions because I needed certain things to change. So when they settled out of court and I was settled, they went and removed the ATM from that point. What did I achieve? At least I achieved something. That criminals can no longer go to obscure places to withdraw money using other people's ATM cards. And the fact that they know too well now that their ATMs will be properly illuminated and security will be provided. Why did Chimamanda Adichie sue the hospital? Because of ethical practices. If we listen to the interviews that have been made over that event, we will recognize some unethical practices that we Nigerians are used to anyhowness. Does not mean that others will settle for less or accept it. There are best practices. There are ways to carry out businesses. And it is sad that rather than applaud Chimamanda Adichie and encourage our institutions to work, we know government continues to fail us. But our institutions, particularly private institutions like a private hospital, is expected that our hospital should uphold certain level of standards. Why should private hospitals be reporting issues of negligence? Why should we encourage anyhowness? Because ordinary Nigerians are probably getting unalive every day due to negligence and carelessness of healthcare practitioners. If this happened in a public healthcare system, it would have been a different scenario. But it's a private health center where you are paying so much for all we see in the public health sector not to rear its head. Chimamanda is not fighting for her baby as we speak. It is fighting to correct certain ills that may attack or affect someone's child tomorrow. Something that may come to haunt us tomorrow. But one ugly incident I have seen in Nigeria is this ethnic baiting that some of these politicians have institutionalized. How is this a Yoruba and Igbo thing now? Why should anybody be accusing the Igbos of producing counterfeit drugs, and how those counterfeit drugs were responsible for the unaliving of Chimamanda Adichie's son? I don't think we are being sensitive here. I don't think we are being humane. It is a sad reality that this is what politics has reduced Nigeria to, that we are no longer sympathetic to our brothers or our sisters. That somebody loses her child and she decides to sue because she wants the system to change and improve. all we can say is either because it happened to a big man or because her own kinsmen and kinswomen provided fake and counterfeit medication. Who led us to this point, Nigerians? When have we stopped being our brother's keepers? It is the right of every Nigerian, but Nigerians don't know, to sue when you have poor quality service. At least I served in one of the agencies that is responsible for ensuring that consumers have their rights restored, have their rights respected when it comes to consumer goods or services. But Nigerians don't know their rights. And because most Nigerians don't know their rights, does not mean that those who understand what their rights are shouldn't demand that their rights be respected and maintained. I support the litigation in court because I want to see how our healthcare systems can be improved upon. I want to see how the negligence by our healthcare professionals can be put to end. She has a good case, I believe, and we want to see how these cases would improve our jurisprudence and our legal system. We need to take some of these legal issues seriously, and some of our health professionals need to live up to the highest level of ethical standards, because we can't continue to be doing things anyhow and anywhere we like, because nobody is held responsible and accountable. This could be Chimamanda today, but tomorrow we don't know who it will be. Same with Anthony Joshua. How can someone be driving Anthony Joshua without a valid driver's license? Was that person ever trained? And it is surprising to also know that such a person exists within the team of Anthony Joshua. And that means that not just a driver, but whoever is in charge of Anthony Joshua's logistics needs to also pay for it. Because there should be some sort of review of everyone working with you, if they are certified, if they are qualified, who trained them, who certified them, were they road safety during their training before they were employed. These are processes and procedures that most corporates would always embrace. To hear that Anthony Joshua was killed by a driver without a driver's license is one that also speaks to our system as a whole. And we just want to argue and condemn the victims because they are elites or they have the resources. It's not a crime for them to have accomplishments. It's not a crime for them to be educated and to know what should be the norm. It's not a crime for them to demand their rights. If we Nigerians and other Nigerians don't care about this, I like to let you know that some other Nigerians bother about them. And that is why when we're dealing with them providing services, we need to ensure that we're doing it with all sense of responsibility and professionalism. I'd love to read your thoughts on this issue, and I hope to see you in the next video.